Hey guys, welcome back to Boost Hunter Garage. Today we got an assortment of some parts we're going to throw on my 07 here. If you watched a couple videos back, we did a boost leak test and I had a ton of leaks. These boots are the stock ones, so we had a couple random ones we were able to tighten up, and then a couple of them where one for sure that was leaking right through the center of the boot. So there's no tightening that, it's just super worn out. Wouldn't surprise me if the other ones are close to that. So I picked up a new boot kit, all four of them, from Power Driven Diesel. They're supposed to be really good boots. They come with new clamps. They're real heavy duty ones. I've definitely snapped stock ones before. I don't know if just they're weak in general or them being old, but I've definitely snapped them before. So they come with all that. Super nice kit, decent price. Also, we are leaking around the intake horn. So I just picked up two new gaskets for that. Not sure if they're pinched. When I tightened them down, it didn't really do a whole lot. So I got two new kits. And I thought while I was doing this, so from the cold side of your intercooler going up to that intake horn, the stock one's plastic, which I have no clue why they would do a stock one or a plastic one on that. Doesn't really make any sense. So I was gonna make one, but for the price of this, I just ended up picking this up. So obviously it's a metal one. You're not gonna blow it apart or melt a hole in it. It's just from BD. So I thought while I was doing it, I'm gonna fix that. And on my last video, we did the exhaust manifold bolts and gaskets on that. And when you do the fleece ones, the studs, you can't use the stock heat shield on there. So I end up getting a manifold blanket. And so I picked this up through Turbo Performance Products. He's actually local to me. His name's Levi. I actually trained jiu-jitsu with him, and I got talking to him about it. I was actually going to buy this, and he gave it to me. So huge thanks to Levi. So you have to check his website out. I'll make sure to link it below. So he doesn't just do manifold blankets. His big thing, obviously, is turbo blankets. Makes them for all different types of turbos. There's a few different colors that you can get these blankets in. So you definitely got to check out his products. So far, great quality. We're going to start with putting that on just to control that heat so we're not heating up everything. And I've seen tons of kind of dyno testing with manifold blankets and turbo blankets. Obviously, it keeps the heat in, keeps it away from other things, but keeping that heat in will keep the heat in the turbo, which is going to drive your turbo harder. There's from all the dyno testing I've seen, it definitely helps tons with turbo spool up. Not that this thing's, I still got stock turbo and all that kind of stuff, but I know it definitely helps with that. And it's just going to help with wear and tear of throwing that heat around your engine bay, keep your temps down. So we'll get to it. I'm going to start with putting this blanket on first, and then we'll move on to changing these boots and deleting all those boost leaks we had. All right, so we'll go ahead, get this thing kind of fit over it and kind of placed where we want it without trying to burn myself. This truck was running a little bit, so. There we go, got it all tucked in there for the most part. I'm sure I'll have to tweak it a little bit as I put the clips on here. Make sure I get them in the right spots. Probably be smarter to do this when you didn't have to drive it for 5 minutes before, but it's not too bad. And then, so it comes with 4 of these wires, and I just put a little hook in that, just using some pliers. And I think what I'll do is I'll hook it from the bottom, pull it up around, just because it's easier to see the top ones. Hopefully I can still do a nice clean bend on the top. But from the instructions, yeah, just bend them over. Didn't say to twist them or anything, so should hook up. It's pretty stiff wire. Pull it, and then we'll hook it around here. Same thing, kind of pull it tight. I know the one thing he said is sometimes guys try to pull them way too tight, and you can possibly pull the anchors out. So you don't want them overly tight, but on there nice and snug, just so it doesn't move around. And yeah, I'll just bend them, and then once you're happy with them, just clip off the excess wire. So we'll go ahead and get these on there. We'll see how I get them lined up here. Probably get them all on somewhat, and then go about snugging them. I'll tighten down. I just bend the top ones down, gave them a little pinch with the needle nose, and I kind of pinched these clips down a little bit. Not sure if you need to do that, but thought I might as well. But it turned out super clean. Happy with the results. Looks good and seems very good quality. So we'll see how that over time, how that is. But we're going to move on to all these intercooler boots. This is that one down there. You can see how weathered it looks. That was leaking right from the center of the boot. So I'm going to go ahead, get these pulled off, get this side pulled off, and this intake horn pulled off, because that's where it's got the gasket between there and there. So what I don't get, why on the third gens they have two gaskets, whereas like on my second gen, the heater grid is attached to this intake plenum kind of manifold thing. So you only have one gasket. So I think that's where sometimes I think I end up pinching it. But we'll go ahead, get all this pulled off, and we'll put the new stuff on. All right, so I got all the stock stuff pulled off. I guess the only thing from stock that we'll be reusing is the hot side of the intercooler pipe. It's a little ugly looking. Yeah, I should have painted it, but I don't got time today to let it dry. And down the road here, I want to get a bunch of stuff powder coated, so we'll deal with it at that point. With that being said, we got that off. And then the intake horn got off, got it cleaned up a bit, scraped off the old gasket. I couldn't tell 100% like where it was leaking or what, so got that cleaned off. And then I took the grid heater right off, and I think the main reason I was probably leaking there, and I know I've fought this a couple times when I take it off, is like I said before, having the two separate gaskets. Because when you're going to set them on there, line them both up with the bolts, I think sometimes it wants to slide around, either nick the bottom one or something. So I think what I'm going to do, don't know if this is a smart or a dumb idea, just take a little bit of gasket maker, just wipe a thin layer on there, and then set these on where I want them so that it kind of holds them in place. Then I'll go ahead and bolt this back down on the truck. I think I'm going to do this. So my mic decided to quit halfway through filming this, and I can't remember what I was blabbing about, but the RTV, it worked all right, but it didn't stick the greatest. I think spray tack would probably work better. It's tough with those gaskets, the type that they are. They're kind of waxy. Not much is going to stick to them, but it helps better than having nothing, so to throw it on the truck. And here I just started throwing on all the boots ahead of time, You're gonna have one that's smaller than the rest. That one's the one that attaches to the turbo. And then I just try to put the clamps on so that they're facing the right way once I get them in the truck, so that they're easy to tighten up and not running into anything. So I just want to show you the difference between these power-driven diesel clamps versus the stock ones. You can tell looking at them, they're a lot beefier. And on this one, it's got the big washer, a lot bigger spring, but also the thread of the nut actually goes, you can see down in here, it goes way down in there. I don't know, it's hard to tell, but so there's a lot more grabbing instead of like these ones, they'll shear off, that kind of thing. So a lot beefier. So I think these will do a lot better, more consistent clamp load. You're not going to have them back off on you. So I'm going to go ahead, get these thrown in the truck. Okay guys, we got those installed, the new boots, that new intercooler pipe. And this is actually a few months later from when I filmed the first part of this. I ran into some issues when I was installing this, which I'll show you here with the intake horn, some things with that. I was debating what I was going to do, and I ended up leaving it for now. And so I decided to finish this video up. We'll finish with a boost leak test, since that was our initial problem, why we were changing these boots. So make sure the new ones are holding, and the one old one I had to use that we'll show you. So I'll show you, them installed, and then we'll get to do a little test on this. Okay, so we can see here, our new boot installed there. That's our boost leak tester. I just have it ready to go. New boot going there. And you can see the new one on this side there, our new pipe here. And so this is where I ran into the problem. I realized after, when the stock one's plastic, you have a bit of flex in it. Obviously the metal one, you don't. And with the old boots, they're way more flexible than the new ones. And so I went to go put this together. It would not line up and go together. And what I realized, this cheap intake horn that I bought is, when it got welded together, I think it needs to turn back a bit. It's not lined up right. And the only reason I had changed this was because my stock one had cracked, or else I probably wouldn't have changed it. Not a big believer in the whole intake horn thing being a huge upgrade when you're not making a ton of power stock head. That aside, why it took a while before I filmed this was I was thinking about cutting this and re-welding it, because for the time being I had to use one of the old boots here because they're more flexible. I was able to get it to line up. I've just been running it like that for now. Would like obviously to get the new upgraded one on there, so either I'm going to buy a different intake horn. I'd honestly would run a stock one if I got another one just cheap if someone had one that around. Anyways, but I've been running it like this for now. So I want to run a boost leak test on this just to make sure we kind of solved our problems, and that old one there where it's kind of not lined up perfectly, make sure that's not leaking. So I got the air compressor ready. We'll throw some air in this. I think I have the regulator set to around high 30s, maybe 40 pounds. You could start lower, but I've tested up that before, so I'd rather just get after it, and we'll slam some air in it. I'll probably use maybe some soapy bubbles. I use it if you can't hear any leaks. It's easy to spray them, and just to make sure if there's like any small leaks. So we'll get some air in this and we'll see what happens. Okay, so I got the air hooked up. We'll just spray some of these and see if we got any leaks. I guess the main one I'm worried about is this one here. It's got a bunch of dish soap mixed up in here. So far, so good, and I'm not hearing anything. You'll sometimes just hear it hissing. Oh, got one there. Have to reset that clamp. I kind of could see that gap there, so. All right, so the rest, so we do got a bit of a leak there. You can see them after. It's definitely a slow one, but well, I'll fix those up and then we'll test it again. Okay, so I repositioned this one and tightened it up. Oops. And it looks like we got rid of that leak. And then the one up here, it looks like we finally just tightened it up a bunch more. I'm always cautious or scared of these stock ones. I've snapped them before, tightened up, so I just eased it on, but it looks like we're good. And where we were leaking here the previous time, looks like that finally sealed up. So we finally got all these leaks sealed up, what we were trying to accomplish. We'll deal with this after. Either I'll cut and weld it or I'll buy a new one. So, but for now, at least we got all these on and we got rid of our boost leaks. All right, guys, we're gonna end this video off here. At least we got all our boost leaks fixed. I'll be on the hunt for a new intake horn or repair that one. I'm not 100% sure what I'm gonna do. Most likely buy a different one because it'll probably be a pain trying to fix that one. And yeah, for like the stock boot that I had to use there, the only reason I didn't use the good clamps off the new kit is the new boots are way thicker and those old ones are real thin, and the clamps don't want to like clamp all the way down before they run out of space, or else I would have used those over the stock kind of shitty ones. But for now, we got them fixed, so eventually we'll change that out. And yeah, we're gonna end this off here. Thanks a lot for watching. Please like and subscribe. It helps the channel out a ton, and we'll catch you on the next one.